Grandpa turned stripped screw holes into small miracles, with two things you almost always have around: baking powder and superglue. Hole worn out? Screw won't grip anymore? He simply poured baking powder in, added a few drops of superglue, and after a short time it was harder than the old wood. New screw in, done. Completely without dowels, without special stuff. That's exactly what these workshop hacks are about. Home remedies, clever hands, zero high-tech. If you like these everyday hacks, subscribe to the channel. Soap on the screw thread. Back then, Grandpa never just screwed straight into hardwoods. He knew, if the screw goes in dry, it binds. The wood splits more easily, and you need much more force. So he always started with a piece of plain soap. Pull the screw thread 2 or 3 times over the soap until it shines lightly, not to coat it thickly, just rub it in thinly. When you drive it in, you feel the difference immediately. The screw runs smoother, you turn it in more evenly, especially in old beams or super dense wood. Grandpa used this on old door frames, furniture, and narrow trim where you have almost no play. This way you protect the wood, your arms, and even the cordless drill's battery. His rule: prepare first, then screw. Clothespin is finger extension. Do you know that feeling when you want to nail a narrow trim and are constantly afraid for your fingers? That's exactly where Grandpa brought in the wooden clothespin. Instead of holding the nail directly with your fingertips, he clamped it in the pin. The pin becomes your extended finger. You position the nail, give the first blows completely relaxed without your hand right next to it. Especially valuable for baseboards, picture rails, or thin decorative strips. Once the nail is a bit into the wood, you pull the pin away and drive it home. No shaking, no blue fingertips. So simple, so Grandpa. Old comb for mini nails. For the really tiny nails, Grandpa had something even better: an old comb. Especially those super thin nails you can hardly hold. You simply stick between the teeth. The head sticks out a bit. The shaft lies safely between 2 teeth. Now you can prepare several nails neatly in a row, for example for a back panel, thin strips, or small wood projects. Your fingers are out of the way. You see the nail heads clearly to press. You tap them in, pull the comb away, and drive them flush. Grandpa loved anything that made work calmer and more even. Less fumbling, more control. Magnet on the hammerhead. So he didn't constantly have to search for nails, came his magnet hack. He simply attached a small magnet sideways or at the back of the hammer and parked a few nails there. Instead of nails in the mouth, in the pocket or loose on the ladder, they stuck right on the hammer. You take one down, hammer it in, grab the next. Especially when you're up on the ladder or working overhead, you don't want to keep climbing down or bending over. And loose nails don't disappear in sawdust anymore. Magnetize the screwdriver. While we're on magnets, magnetizing the screwdriver is almost mandatory. Grandpa took a strong magnet and stroked it several times in one direction along the shaft of the screwdriver, always from handle to tip. Not back and forth, but like combing in one direction. After a few strokes, the screw stays briefly on the tip. Perfect when working overhead or in tight corners, for example on cabinets or under tabletops. The screw doesn't keep falling down. You work calmer. When the effect fades, just repeat the process. His magnet always hung ready at the workbench. Rubber band against stripped screws. And finally, one of his favorite first try, then force moments. You know those screw heads where the bit just spins through? Back then, people quickly grabbed the big screwdriver and pressed like crazy. Grandpa stopped first. He laid a simple rubber band, for example from a bunch of vegetables, over the screw head. Then he set the bit or screwdriver on top and pressed firmly. The soft rubber fills small grooves in the screw head and gives much more grip. Often that's enough to get the screw out or in cleanly without ruining it completely. Only when that didn't work did the rough methods come. So everything starts. Protect fingers, use force better, and work more relaxed with tiny helpers. Candle wax for smooth-running saws. When Grandpa reached for the handsaw, a candle almost always came first. A saw that binds makes your arm tired, the cut goes crooked, and you start pressing instead of guiding. Exactly what he wanted to avoid. He briefly pulled the saw blade over a simple candle, both sides, just a very thin film of wax. No greasing, just a hint. When sawing, you immediately feel how the blade glides more easily through the wood. Especially with thick boards, old beam wood, or when the saw is already a bit dull, you feel the difference. The saw runs calmer, binds less, you can concentrate on the line. Grandpa made this like a small ritual before every bigger cut. Tennis ball as flexible sanding block. During sanding, Grandpa never wanted cramped fingers and uneven surfaces. Rigid sanding blocks are just stubborn on curves. They grip only at a few points you sand dents in. That's why he grabbed an old tennis ball, wrapped sandpaper around it, and tucked the ends in or fixed them with tape. This way the ball adapts to chair legs, round table edges, or curved trim. Your hand rests comfortably on the ball, you can dose pressure well and still stay controlled. Especially on old chairs, turned railings, or curved furniture edges, the surface becomes even without sanding off sharp edges. Again, a typical grandpa hack. Take what's there and make it fit. Chalk on the file against clogged teeth. Files that are densely packed with shavings simply work badly. You scrub and scrub, but it barely bites anymore. Grandpa therefore rubbed a piece of chalk over the file surface before filing. The chalk settles finely between the teeth, so shavings and abrasion don't stick so firmly. After work, he brushed the file thoroughly with an old toothbrush or small wire brush until the grooves were really clear. The chalk helps the dirt come off more easily. This keeps the teeth open and sharp. Result: less effort, cleaner surfaces, and the file lasts much longer. For him, this was normal tool routine, not special care. Potato when drilling tiles and glass. When drilling into tiles or glass, Grandpa was always careful. The drill likes to slip away. The surface can chip. His helper, a slice of raw potato. He pressed the potato slice onto the spot where the hole should go, then started drilling through the potato. The potato acts like a small guide and prevents the drill from immediately dancing over the smooth surface. At the same time, the moisture brings a bit of cooling to the tip. Plus low speed, hardly any pressure, and safety glasses, and you have a much more relaxed job. Especially in the bathroom, on kitchen tiles, or thin glass, this is a real lifesaver. Right angle with the 3-4-5 method. When a shelf, frame, or carport really needed to be square, Grandpa didn't always dig out the perfect angle finder. He used the 3-4-5 method. A string, measuring tape, or 3 wooden strips are enough. On one side, measure 3 units, on the other 4. Connect the ends and the diagonal should be 5 units long. If it matches, you have pretty exactly 90 degrees. Work small on the workbench and outside in the garden on substructures. This way, his constructions were rarely crooked, even without much math. Rubber hose as pliers protection. Normal pliers love to leave marks in soft metals, chrome pipes, or painted parts. Grandpa cut 2 short pieces from an old garden hose or rubber tube and slipped them over the pliers' jaws. This turned the hard pliers into a gentle gripper. You can hold faucets, turn thin pipes, or grab delicate fittings without leaving marks. The pressure stays, but the surface is padded. No special tool, just a piece of hose, and the good fitting isn't scratched. Tool care with chalk, brush, and a touch of oil. After all the work, Grandpa didn't just leave his tools in the dirt, especially files, rasps, and drills got a little treatment. First, he removed loose shavings with an old toothbrush. Then, when chalk was involved, brushed thoroughly again until the grooves were really clear. Finally, a touch of oil on a cloth, wiped once over metal surfaces. Done. No soaking, no fat armor, just a thin, protective film against rust. At the next project, file and drill grip immediately without scratching, without surface rust. His experience: whoever spends 2 minutes on tool care after work saves a lot of trouble and money later. Screw and nail shelf with mustard jars. Order wasn't play for Grandpa. It was pure time saving. He screwed the metal lids of old mustard or jam jars from below onto a shelf board. The matching jars were filled with screws, nails, dowels, or nuts, and simply screwed into the lids. You see every jar under the shelf immediately, unscrew it briefly, take what you need, and screw it back up. No rummaging in boxes, no torn cartons falling apart. With a strip of tape and pen, you quickly add labels, size, type, place of use. This way, small parts stay sorted and the workbench stays free. Lost small parts saved with sock and vacuum. If a tiny screw still disappears in sawdust, you don't have to crawl on all fours searching. Grandpa pulled an old sock or sheer stocking over the vacuum hose and secured it with a rubber band. Then he vacuumed the floor or workbench. Dust gets sucked through the sock, heavy parts stay caught outside on the fabric. When you turn off the vacuum, you can calmly pick screws, nuts, or bits off the sock. You find what's important quickly without digging in dirt. Especially after drilling and sawing, this saves enormous nerves. Mirror on a stick for control view. There are corners you can't get your head into. Behind cabinets, under washstands, in twisted furniture. Grandpa glued a small mirror to an old ruler, a wire, or extendable stick. With this periscope, he could check if everything was sitting clean at the back. Screws tight, cables neatly laid, no tear-outs on hidden edges. Instead of half-dismantling furniture, often a quick look with the mirror is enough. You see what's going on before you take anything apart by force. Saves time and prevents damage that wasn't necessary. Alcohol film for better marking on metal. On blank metal pencil lines and many markers are barely visible. Everything reflects, the line smears. Grandpa applied a thin film of alcohol, spread it with a cloth, and let it dry briefly. The metal becomes slightly matte. Now when you draw with waterproof pen, scriber, or fine marker, the lines stand out much clearer. When sawing, drilling, or grinding, you keep your markings in view and mess up less often. Especially on angles, sheets, or rails, it's like a small drawing surface where you can plan cleanly. Old toothbrush as mini cleaning tool. Grandpa saved almost every old toothbrush for the workshop. It was his all-purpose cleaner for anything with grooves, threads, or fine teeth. First brush dry over threads, drills, files, and hinges to remove dust and shavings. If something was stubborn, add a drop of oil or a bit of alcohol, scrub briefly, wipe with cloth. This way you remove resin residue from saw blades, get drills clean, and sweep dirt out of machine corners. Clean tools work calmer and more precisely, and you spot cracks or wear earlier. Magnets right on the tool handle. Grandpa's love for magnets naturally extended to the tools themselves. He attached small, strong magnets with tape or a drop of glue to the handle of screwdrivers or the hammer handle. There he parked one or two bits or a few matching screws. When screwing on the shelf, he didn't have to run to the workbench. One grip on the handle and the next bit or screw was there. Especially when working on the ladder or in tight spaces, this is gold because you keep both hands free for the actual workpiece. Magnet on pants and workbench. To make it even more practical, the magnet went on the pants pocket. Grandpa stuck a strong magnet on the outside of his work pants. Screws, nuts, bits, or small nails stayed there. On the ladder, you grab the parts directly from your magnet pocket. Nothing rolls out of the pocket, nothing lies loose on rungs. On the workbench, he did the same with a magnet at the edge. The most important small parts for the current project stay collected there. This way you always know where your screws are, right where you need them. Rubber band over the paint can. When painting, Grandpa didn't like wasting time cleaning. He stretched a wide rubber band once around the paint can so it ran across the opening. He wiped the brush not on the rim but on the band. The can rim stayed clean, nothing ran into the groove. Excess paint drips back into the can, you have fewer drips, and the lid closes easily later. Especially with several short painting sessions, this is a blessing because the can doesn't glue shut like concrete every time. Aluminum foil as brush garage. When Grandpa knew he'd continue painting later, he didn't wash the brush every time. Instead, he wrapped it tightly in aluminum foil, right up to the metal part. The foil lay close, so almost no air got in. This way, the paint in the brush stays workable for hours, sometimes until the next day. You unwrap it and can continue right away without soaking or dealing with pointed, hard bristles. Saves water, cleaner, and lots of fiddling at the sink. Clear nail polish against rust. For screws sitting outside, Grandpa often reached for clear nail polish, thinly brushed overhead, and transitioned to the material. Done. This inconspicuous layer protects against moisture and delays rust. Especially on visible screws on fences, garden furniture, or metal fittings, everything looks neat longer. You don't need a big can of rust protection, just a small bottle from the bathroom. Household Remedy moves to the workshop quite casually. Baking powder and superglue as filler. Our intro hero now gets his own spot. Grandpa filled stripped screw holes or small breaks in wood with baking powder and then added superglue drop by drop. It doesn't foam but hardens very hard. After a short time, you can sand, drill, or set a new screw. For furniture fittings or hinges in doors, this is often more stable than the old wood. Important, let it cure in peace. Then continue working. This way you save many parts. Others would already throw away. Coffee grounds as hand cleaner. After glue, paint, and oil, Grandpa's hands looked like a workshop novel. Instead of harsh cleaners, he rubbed damp coffee grounds with a little dish soap in his hands. The grains remove paint, grease, and dirt like a gentle peeling. Then quick wash with normal soap, dry, done. Skin gets clean without drying out completely, and the coffee grounds get a second life. A typical grandma and grandpa hack. Nothing is wasted. Everything helps somewhere. These workshop hacks bring calm to your projects, protect tools, hands, and wallet, and get surprisingly much out of simple home remedies. If you want more of these everyday hacks from grandma's and grandpa's time, subscribe to the channel, give a like, and write in the comments which hack you'll try first or which grandpa hack you still know.